Listen to a cold start on an old job site. A heavy steel door slams, a key turns, and a blast of rich exhaust clears the air. That is the sound of heavy-gauge steel and cast iron waking up for a day of hard labor. We live in an era of disposability. Today's heavy-duty trucks are basically rolling supercomputers wrapped in a fragile skin of aluminum and plastic. They feature massive touchscreens, ventilated seats, and bumpers that crack if you look at them wrong. Looking at this animated diagram of a modern truck's electrical schematic, you see a sprawling web of delicate microchips. If one single sensor fails out in the dirt, the entire system dies. Back in 1971, General Motors threw out every blueprint and body panel they had. They brought prototypes into wind tunnels and engineered an aerodynamic platform they called the rounded line. But the American working class took one look at that massive crossbar grille, those flat steel panels, and that wide planted stance, and gave it the only name that stuck, the Squarebody. That name signaled the start of a 14-year era. GM had pivoted away from standard vehicle redesigns to lean into a specific philosophy of heavy-gauge construction that would define the American job site for over a decade. To understand how it survives, you have to look underneath a classic K20 or GMC Sierra Classic. This rendering highlights the truck's skeleton. No modern alloys engineered to crumple here. The platform rides on a full ladder frame forged from heavy-gauge carbon steel. For the K-Series, Chevy bolted up a massive cast-iron solid front axle. That setup means the truck rides like a tractor. It does not glide over bumps like a luxury sedan. But that rigidity is exactly the point. You can drop that front end into a rocky ditch, drag it through a flooded field, and subject it to abuse that would snap a modern independent suspension in half. GM willingly abandoned ride comfort to guarantee the foundational structure would never quit when subjected to extreme agricultural or industrial punishment. Pop the hood, and you find the mechanical core of the beast, the legendary Chevy 350 small block and the massive 454 big block. Look closely at the components. You won't find turbochargers, delicate electronic wastegates, or computer modules dictating engine timing. These engines run on cast iron blocks, cast iron heads, and a simple two-barrel carburetor. They generate raw, neck-snapping low-end torque. These mechanical masterpieces are built entirely for hauling incredibly heavy payloads across the toughest job sites. Because the design is so simple, it offers total field repairability. That made it a critical tool for a self-reliant working farmer. A man with a basic socket set could pull that 350 apart in a dirt field, diagnose it, and have it running before dinner. The true value of this cast iron heart is measured in the absolute mechanical independence it grants the person holding the wrench. Moving outward, the exterior skin relies entirely on those defining, massive flat steel panels. If you crack a plastic bumper on a modern truck at the job site, you end up calling an insurance agent and waiting on back-ordered parts. With the Squarebody, grab a hammer and a dolly, physically pound that heavy steel back into shape in 10 minutes, and get back to work. These panels operate as repairable armor. The truck wears its dents and its rust as proof that it survived the 70s and 80s, and it continues to outwork modern plastic trucks on the road today. By 1987, the initial run came to a close. General Motors evolved the platform into the sleek GMT 400, bringing in fuel injection and modern reliability. That shift successfully kept the mechanical DNA alive for the next generation of GM trucks. But if you want to test the enduring legacy of the original Squarebody against modern engineering, look at what happens when these vehicles are left to the elements. Go find a classic Chevy abandoned in a field, with its hood up, fully exposed to the rain and snow for 5 solid years. Just drop in a fresh battery and try pouring raw, liquid gasoline directly down the throat of the mechanical carburetor. That cast iron engine will fire right up, because real steel doesn't forget how to work.